Fellow Toastmasters, friends. 2 weeks ago this morning, my wife and I arrived in France. It was the first time for both of us. We were staying in the beginning at a bed and breakfast, which is just outside of Paris. After a day of recovering from the flights, Friday morning, we set out to go into Paris. We had arranged for a tour that involved a bus tour of the city, lunch at the Eiffel Tower, and a river cruise. We had to be at a travel agency's office at 11:45. So we left our B&B about 90 minutes beforehand. Unfortunately, it took us about a half an hour to figure out which was the right train to get to Paris and to get our car to work to get the stupid tickets. So we lost most of our buffer in that first 30 minutes just trying to get started. So we take the first train. We are able to successfully hop to the next train. And fortunately, we didn't actually have to literally hop, which was nice. We take the train into town and it drops us off, according to our calculations, about 2 blocks away from the agency's office. And at that point, we had 15 minutes to get there, which is 30 minutes before the bus tour was to start. So leaving the train station, we come to our first set of steps. We're pretty fresh still. It wasn't that intimidating. They were just kind of an inconvenience. We come up the steps, and then we start walking towards the agency. We go 1 block. We start looking for where this place is. We go 2 blocks. Not finding it, not being able to read most of the street names. We go 3 blocks, still nothing. 4 blocks, 5 blocks, 6 blocks. This is getting ridiculous. It is now time for us to be there, and we don't know where we are. We find a hotel. We ask for some directions. Someone knows enough English to tell us 4 blocks back. So we turn around and we start walking. So instead of 2 blocks, we walk about 10. And we get there 5 minutes after the bus had left. So we tried to explain to the lady in the agency, what was going on. And at first they said, well, they can't really do anything for you. You missed the tour. But I think I don't know if she was being nice or just wanted to get rid of these hot, sweaty Americans out of that office. She was able to arrange for us to meet at the Eiffel Tower with our tour group. We would have to miss the bus portion. But if we can get to the Eiffel Tower in time, we can still have the lunch and the boat cruise. So we immediately set out, hopped onto a bus, or climbed onto those buses, and started heading towards Eiffel Tower. It took us about 30 minutes. The bus drops you off about a half kilometer from the tower, and we're doing pretty good time for a change. So we walk across the bridge. We get to the tower, we go through the security, which takes a little while. We get to our rendezvous point at exactly the time the tour was supposed to show up. Of course, they weren't there. So we're beginning to worry, did we miss them? Are we too soon? Are we too late? It was almost 30 minutes before the tour group finally showed up. They were running behind too. So we finally get to go up. We get to ride up to the Eiffel Tower. The elevators, they're amazing. They're kind of like the Wonka elevator. They go this diagonal angle and then do all this. I don't think they do any barrel rolls, but it was pretty amazing. We get to the restaurant on the first floor, and we have this spectacular meal. I would go into the details of the meal, but that is literally another speech. We finish. We enjoy the atmosphere of the restaurant. We spend the next 3 hours on the tower, walking around the perimeter, taking photographs, just enjoying the atmosphere. The weather was perfect. It was 76 degrees. About 7 o'clock, we finally made our way down back through the elevator. We set ourselves on the ground and just watched. That morning during breakfast, a Parisian had told us how every night, starting at sunset, the Eiffel Tower does this kind of a light show. And you cannot leave Paris until you've seen it. Now, as much as we love Paris, we really did eventually want to be able to leave. So we were going to stick around and see if we could catch these lights. We didn't know exactly when they started, but we were waiting. 8 o'clock hit. The sun had just started to finally set. And on the tower itself, as well as the normal lighting that gets a nice warm and gold, there are thousands of these little lights that start coming on. Now, it was amazing to watch. And we'll watch them. Not yet. Not yet. Sorry. Not yet.
Sorry.
Okay. Well, you just blew the ending, but that's okay. No problem. No, I blew the ending. Okay. We watched that, and it was wonderful. After it was over, we went and caught the cruise. Now, to get down to the shoreline, there are these steps. And we're going down, so they're a little steep, a little threatening, but they're okay. So we go down the steps. We take the bus tour. We take the boat tour. It's an hour. Beautiful. City is now lit up everywhere. We come back from this, and we return to the Eiffel Tower. And as we're returning for the second time, we get to see the flashing lights on the tower, and it was breathtaking. The most amazing thing I'd ever seen. It was a highlight of our trip. And then, at this point, it's 10 o'clock. So we have to go back to those steps that we took to get down to the boat. Now they were a monster. And we're staring at these things. It took us a while to get up the gumption to climb all these steps, but we finally did. We made it to the top, tired, worn out. We crossed the bridge, we caught the bus, and started heading back towards the train station. What we didn't realize at the time was, even though it's the same bus we took, going the other direction, it makes different stops. We knew where we were supposed to get off, but it never stopped there. So we ended up going about 2 kilometers past where we wanted to get off, all the way to the end of the line. At this point, it's 11 o'clock. It really was the end of the line. That bus stopped. It was almost 30 minutes before the next bus came. And we told the driver our dilemma. She was very sympathetic and explained there's actually a closer bus stop, closer train terminal where we were now. And she even said, hop on, we won't try anything. It's only 2 blocks away. She took us to the train terminal. We get there, we get a quick bite to eat, and then we go to the terminal. And it's still busy. There's 2 people going up and down the escalators. So we start riding the escalators. We go down 1 level. And there's some construction going on in this terminal, so there's dust everywhere. And we're walking through here. We go down a 2nd level. And we're taking these escalators. They're fine. They're pretty easy. We go down to the 3rd level. And this place is big. So we're walking. We're getting tired. And like, we're almost there. 1 more level to go down. And we get there, and the escalator's not working. Well, there's construction going on. Maybe this is... So we walk down these... And, of course, escalators, there's huge steps. We walk down. We get to the very bottom just to learn that the trains had just stopped. So we turn around, and we go back up that escalator. The monster steps, the menacing steps, they're now laughing at us. We get up to the next level, and all of the escalators had stopped. Now this is becoming like a nightmare. It's dark, there's nobody around. 2 sweaty Americans that don't speak any of the language. Dust covered everywhere. And these menacing, horrific, monstrous climbs ahead of us. We make it up to the 3rd level. And my wife is really exhausted at this point and having some difficulty with her leg. Finally, one of the workers there, who hadn't started yet, but they were waiting for everyone to leave, sees us and comes and helps us. And he's able to get his supervisor, who turns the elevator on for us so we can get up to the very last level. Okay, so it is now 1 o'clock, and we are in Paris. No more trains, no more buses. There's really only one choice left. It took us better than an hour to catch a taxi, and that was a very expensive taxi. It was an adventure. We get back to our place at 2:45 in the morning, and we're talking over the events of the day, and we were just, was it worth it? This video, if you please give your complete attention up here, this is what we saw when we came in on the boat. Every step we took, every train we took, every bus we rode, every cab, every stair we climbed was absolutely worth it. Mr. Toastmaster.